The reason I'm doing the women and not the men is because there are just too many simps that I would have to account for if I was going to do men. Before we start, we have to define what a simp is. And because this is more or less a family-friendly-ish YouTube channel, instead of using the acronym definition, we're going to use this one. Basically that the word simp is doing anything for a girl to get some action that you supposedly deserve. But what you may not know is that Joseph Joestar invented simping in 1930 when he met Susie Q and fell head over heels for her because who wouldn't? She's literally best girl. But unfortunately, Best Girl said that she wanted nothing to do with him when she first met him. Before we even continue with this, we have to go back even further. Prior to Joseph Joestar inventing simping, love was always very pure intentions and it was very mutual. Look how Arenas says that it's so dirty to carve their names into a tree. See, because this innocuous action was labeled as so dirty, it proves that all love was completely pure before Joseph invented simping. Or you were assault, but we're not counting Dio. So in its inception though, simping was only a method for getting a wife. That was always the end goal. You simp until the girl falls head over heels for you, and you get married. But as time went on, simping grew into something that was so large that mortal men could not stop it. In 1980-something, we encounter our next simp, a man named Jean-Pierre Polnareff. And Polnareff simped for every poor woman that they ran into on their journey. Luckily, they didn't run into a lot, but the ones that they did were subjected to simping. At this point in history, though, the simp is still looking for love and commitment. So he still has the end goal of wanting someone to be with him forever in mind. So this ideal is not very far from the original simp and his intention of getting married. Actually, Polnareff is a very special case because he outgrew and recovered from being a simp. Later on in the story, he was given the opportunity to pursue a relationship with a woman who very much was into him, but he declined. The other expert in simpology is our friend, the entire equine, the whole horse as it was, and he not only simped for girls all over the world, but Whole Horse is also special because he invented being a nice guy. Unfortunately, when we move into the 1990s, the simps are out of control! We have record of Yoshikage Kira simping for the world's first e-girl, the Mona Lisa. Everyone knows that e-girls are not real, and poor Yoshikage Kira was simping for this painting for his, entire life. And he continued to simp for, every woman that he met. But they will never love him back. They're all fake. Mostly because they're severed hands. How unfortunate for him to have to simp for these types of women. And when he has the chance to get a real wife, he blows it by trying to kill her. And then later on by killing her son and just overall being the worst. So yes, Yoshikage Kira is our first example of a horrible simp. One that thrives off of unrequited love, and I'm kink-shaming this specific type of simpness. That is not cool, Mr. Kira. Unfortunately, Mr. Kira is not the only simp who was living in Moriocho. Notice how this poor boy was kidnapped and fed the dictionary. No one in their right mind would go anywhere near a girl like that ever again, right? Wrong! Poor Koichi is reduced from a decent character to a lowly simp, even after all that girl did to him. Unfortunately, this is girl power at its finest, its most potent, forgiveness, where it is not deserved. He says that he likes her? No, you just want more smooches. You are a simp. You got one kiss and then you're like, it's simp time, baby. No, by the 90s, simps are out of control. They grew and evolved, and they get even worse in the 2000s because they merged with the dude bros, and they created a new level of abomination. Notice this large contrast between the actual gentleman Fugo and the simp Mista. Notice how Fugo is thinking about who she is, what her life has been like, why she is here, those existential questions. And Mista is treating her like an object. Look at how he ogles her, instead of treating her like a human being with respect. He is an absolute disgrace. At least, even the simps in the 90s went looking for love in very strange ways, be they severed hands or the girl who tried to use the electric chair on you. At least they looked for love. But Mista is not. He is a worthless simp, mixed with a dude bro, who is only thinking of Trish as an object. Luckily though, as you have seen, not all men became simps. There are actually nice gentlemen that are found in the 2000s as well. We have a gangstar, a gentleman, dad number 1, dad number 2, and a Trishkin, along with our stinky simp. Mista fits everything in the dude bro simp checklist. Girls are an object, actual gentlemen are put down, and he doesn't shower. But by the 2010s, simps have evolved once again to leave the dude bros behind. They have returned to their roots, and their end goal is once again love, commitment, and marriage. Enter our final simp, Anasui. During this time period, simping has returned to the more wholesome nature in its inception. There is no plotting for our Sir Anasui. He simply wants to protect Jolene from everything, and he is planning on marrying her. If this was an Anasui simp comp, I would need to paste the entire Stone Ocean manga into my PowerPoint. So instead, it will just be an Anasui wants to marry Jolene comp, because he is actually rather sweet. He buys her a ring, he asks her dad for her hand, and finally, in the 2010s, with this final W for all simps everywhere, simp culture is redeemed. Don't ask about JOSHU, this is not about JOSHU!